I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible. You should be watching this video if you are not done making your video or you haven't met with me already on Google Meet, which is only a few students. So please, I would like everybody to see a couple of things that happened with other students so that you don't do the same thing. So for everybody, you have a rubric for the multimedia and communication. This tool is just showing that you are either jumping on the Google Meet and you're using that to share out. You've made Google Slides and you've used pictures and it's how you use your pictures and your text. So you should be pretty good on that. Here are some tips when you're practicing for your presentations. This is true for if you're doing a Google Meet or a video. Make sure that you speak loudly and clearly and not too fast. I think the too fast part can happen because you're trying to cram in all the information and you might be limited on the amount that you can say. We found that out today with some of the Screencastify videos. So make sure you practice, and you don't need note cards, but you could use some if you're trying to cut some things out to make yours a little shorter. You can just read right off your screen. Make sure that your slides make sense, like the order you put them in. So please start in the beginning with some history or background of your culture and the geography, because that really makes sense to start with. It's like how your culture began. And then whatever you want to put in whatever order. Doesn't matter if you put your daily life first or you put the economy, whatever you want to put in whichever order. Okay, so it says there is no time limit on the video, but we're finding that Screencastify videos, if you try to go longer, like 8 minutes or 10 minutes, they're not loading. So you might be capped off at 5 minutes. So if you try to stick to the 5 minutes for video making, that's going to work. If you are doing a Google Slides, you have a little bit more time. I have 15-minute slots set apart. By the time you get on and we start, you really want to stick to the same amount, 5 to 7 minutes, so that I could just make sure that there's not a lot of issues with the presentation slots. So I know I said there's not time limit, but I think we might have to change that so that students can actually load and share their videos. Screencastify, if you have the extension, because you're a student, you might only have a 5-minute max. And the link that I shared the other day lets you go longer, but then if you go much longer than 5, it might not submit. So play around with it, but I think 5 minutes will give you enough if you cut some things out. Let me show you that. So here's a copy of a student project. And this particular project actually has around 40 slides on it because there's a lot here. And they actually, if I scroll down this, you can see lots and lots of great information. So you're going to probably need to cut some of that out because that will definitely not fit in a 5-minute presentation. I will see this all of the information because I will look at these Google Slides. So I'm going to try to get to a particular screen here. Maybe with the laws and punishments, you just say one example of a law is, and then you say it. Or here's the living quarters and buildings. Hey, so might not all points you might pick and choose too, or maybe you skip that screen as you go through and just choose to print a few of the things. So again, don't make it too, but if you're heading to 5 minutes, to see which they're most important for you to share out, and then those are the things speak. If you're in a Google Meet, you should sign up Genius that I've posted. And so here's an example of it. My computer is very, very slow. I apologize. So I don't know if it's going to load. But there is a link, and then you're going to want to make sure that you remember the time slot and that you show up and are ready to go. So you're almost done. Hang in there. Really, the only assignments you have left to do are to make sure your Google Slides is finished, and then either record and submit your video or sign up on the Google Meet for a time and show up and present. And then the last thing to do is finish your last focus area or two. Hopefully you only have one left, and you can get that done very shortly.